Hey everybody, it's your girl Barbie J, and I am here with Tyler Perry's comedy drama ZATIMA, Season 2, Episode 12, Risky Business. Yes. Now, this was a good episode as well, but I think I liked episode 11 a little bit better. Yeah, I did. So the synopsis for this one is Zach tries to make things right with Fatima, who's already moving on. This is true. It was only one night, right? The night later, she's moving on. Anyway, Fatima gets an unexpected request from Dr. Reed. Oh, yes, and it was a big unexpected request. And Zach visits his mom. And this was a bit much for me, that part. Anyway, so let's jump right in. And before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to my channel as of yet, please take a moment right now and hit that subscribe button. You all know what's going on with YouTube and my other channel. So I ask that you subscribe to this one so I can become remonetized all over again. So what that means is that I need you to like, comment, and share. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. So this episode begins with Fatima leaving the club with Paul, and Zach is left standing there with his boys, who are amazed at how well Fatima can sing. Then Nate shows them that Belinda is the chick he's been messing with, and Zach is like, you gotta be kidding me. So she tells them that she and Zach messed around and he broke her and her best friend up. And Zach said that was one time, and no, he didn't. His boys want to hear more, but Zach is like, nah, he wants to leave. So he goes over to Angela to ask if Fatima was staying with her, and he apologized to her date Sam for interrupting. Angela told him no, she wasn't, and Zach said yes, she is, and they left out with Tony. So Nate stayed with Belinda, of course. So Angela told Sam, we gotta go, and she rushed home. Meanwhile, Fatima is making out with Paul on Angela's couch, and she pulls off his shirt, but then realized that she can't go through with what she's starting. You know, I don't blame her. So she apologizes to Paul, who says he kind of saw this coming. Then they both start talking about going through therapy, and we learn that Fatima went through it in her late 20s due to a lot of anger and frustrations, and Paul claims the same for him. They both claim that it helps. So Paul wants to get back to what they were starting, and Fatima tells him he's a beautiful man and that she would be using him. And he said, so use me. And I was like, say what? And he said, you can even call me his damn name if you want to. And I just found that to be sad. What self-respecting man would let you call them by your ex-man's name for sex? Come on now, somebody put it down in the comment section, because I have no idea who would allow that. Anyway, Fatima says she can't and states that this is all too soon. Heck, they just broke up last night. Of course it's too soon. So he claims that they have, so much in common, like theater, which he seems to know that Zach hates. I don't know how he knows that. Then he runs off a list of things he says he's learned about Fatima just by listening to her during dinner. And she seems impressed by this. I'm still feeling some kind of way about Paul anyway, because he put a move on Fatima back in that elevator knowing she was in a serious relationship with Zach. So I still am feeling some kind of way. I have not warmed up to him. Maybe some of y'all have, but I haven't. Anyway, then Angela comes rushing into her house asking why Fatima's not answering her phone and telling Paul he got to go now. He got to get out his house. And Fatima's like, what's going on? And she tells her that Zach is on his way. And Fatima's like, Paul, you don't have to leave. And Angela's like, oh, yes, he does. This is my shit up in here. And I ain't trying to get anything broke. And and I was with her on that. I'm like, go ahead, Angela. This your place. You don't be having no mess going on here. So Angela got them out and told Fatima, you living dangerously, but not in my house. I said, hey, you tell her, sister. You tell her. So Zach shows up with Tony, who is acting a straight fool, like he's ready to fight. And they see Paul and Sam standing outside talking. So Paul must have just been waiting to run into Zach. I don't know. So Paul wants to talk to Zach. Zach's like, I ain't got ish to say to you. And he tells Zach that he ain't got nothing to be mad about. Fatima wants to be with him, and he's a lucky man. Zach says, I know. Then he knocks on Angela's door, and Fatima runs and hides, saying to tell him that she went to bed. But when Angela lets Zach in, she tells him that she ain't there, not knowing that he's already seen Paul outside. Plus, Zach said he heard her. So Zach is yelling to Fatima that he just wants to talk. Please, Fatima, I love you. I just want to talk. It's sort of how Angela did in season 1. Remember when Belinda lied about what went down between her and Zach, and Angela comes in there and say, Fatima in Zach's house, but anyway, Fatima wouldn't respond, so he and Tony left. So now Zach is in his office, and Bryce comes in talking about that incredible deal they can't pass up. And Zach asks him what did he think about the doctor, that night at dinner. And Bryce said he looked him up and he was legit. And he said the guy was spot on. I was like, was he spot on about what he said about you, Bryce? Or are you saying he was spot on about what he said about Zach or everybody at the table? That's what I was wondering what that was. Anyway, Zach asks, do you think I need therapy? And Bryce asks, the question is, do you think you need therapy? And he tells Zach he thinks he has things he can work on, but so do a lot of people. So Bryce turns the conversation back to business, and they don't discuss the therapy anymore. So now Fatima gets a call from Dr. Reed. She's in her office. She gets a call from Dr. Reed, and he's calling to check on her, he said, and ask can she come in to see him at noon, and wants to share some things with her about Zach. Now, I'll be honest, at first I thought that Paul said something to him about Fatima, but we later learned it was something else. But at this point, Angela has, walked into Fatima's office and asked what's going on. Then she says how pitiful Zach was last night. Fatima says she can't deal with a man lying and cheating on her, so F Zach and all his begging. She tells her that she's going out with Paul again tonight, and Angela's like, do you even like him? And Fatima's like, yeah, sort of, and asks that he listens and he hears me and sees me, and Angela said, hey, hold up. They all do that ish when you first meet them. And I said, she right about that. Angela get a check for that. But Zach sees you, she said. So, but he doesn't hear me, Fatima said. And I think he does, because he was always doing everything she wanted him to do. Whenever she said, you need to go do this, or you should go do that, whatever, he's hearing her, because she's telling him what to do. So what is she saying? Maybe she means something different by it. Somebody let me know down in the comment section. I could be wrong. Anyway, Angela's like, wow. And Fatima's like, why all of a sudden you on Zach's side? And she said he was just looking so sad last night. And Fatima said, well, you go call Bryce and I'll call Zach. And Angela was like, that's completely different, because Zach don't want no dick. And they start laughing, and Tima asked her to go, asked her to kind of in a nice way to go, she don't want to talk about it anymore. She got a lot of work to do. Anyway, now we have Zach. He pulls up to the barbershop looking for Tony, and he talks to Mr. Tyrone, who tells him that word is on the street, he done broke up with that fine ass girl. And Zach responds, yeah, we're working through some things. And he reminds him not to be taking advice from them knuckleheads that he be with. So he tells him also to always get some good, solid advice. So Zach says, like a therapist? And he responds, hell nah, that's for biatches. I said, oh man, Mr. Tyrone. And he said, pay me, I'll give you some good advice. And Zach said, I ain't paying you. What are you, a barber and a therapist? Mr. Tyrone said, nigga, what you think barbers and beauticians are? They always talking and telling you stuff, right? That's like bartenders. Bartenders are as well. So Nate walks up and Mr. Tyrone goes inside. He asked Zach if he, was hitting Belinda, and he said, it was a one-time thing and that he regrets. So Zach asked Nate, what is he doing? You can't be serious about her because you're married. And he said, Belinda's cool with it. And Zach says that should tell you what type of person she is. Then Nate tells Zach that Lori put him out and won't answer his calls, texts, emails, DMs, nothing. He said he even sent her a letter and put in the mail, and she sent it back ripped up. I said, damn, she pissed. So he asked Zach if, he cares if he's hitting that. Told my Belinda. And Zach said, I don't give a ish. And Nate said, I kept calling him Nat. It's Nate. Nate said, I don't mind your sloppy seconds. And Zach said, my bro, you're not second, third, or fourth. You more like sloppy 4,000. And he's like, really? Oh, damn. Okay. So anyway, they part ways. And now we're at the law firm. Paul comes up behind Fatima, who's walking down the hall, and he asks her to go to lunch. And she tells him she has an appointment. So he asks about dinner, and she says, oh, you beat me to it. I was going to ask you about dinner. So they agree to meet at 8 p.m. because 7 p.m. is too early for Fatima. So he asked, should he pick her up? And she said yes. That's when we see Angela in the background waiting to talk to her and asking if she wants to grab lunch. And she reminds her about the appointment with Dr. Reed. So Angela said she'll pick some food up for her because Fatima was talking about she'll grab a shake. She was like, girl, I'll get you some food. Now we see Belinda. She walking up to the barber shop and she tells Nate to take her to a Chinese restaurant and get her a little dim sum. And Tony said he better not be able to take you to no Chinese restaurant. I guess he as saying he broke, ain't got no money to pay Tony to be and staying at his house. Anyway, he asked her to treat him to lunch and he'll pay her back. So when Tony goes inside, we find that Belinda had showed Nate where to find that app with Fatima's profile on it. And I still think that Belinda's the one who created that, app or whatever, and that profile for her. Y'all remember that? And she said, I knew they were going to break up and I can't wait for Fatima to call and say that she was right. That meaning Belinda, saying that Belinda was right the whole effing time. And Nate said, and Zach gonna call and tell me the same ish. Watch. And they are both laughing and slapping dap and saying their ish is over. Talk about their relationship that Zach and Fatima are over. And they're happy about it. They are succeeding in trying to break them up. What is the sickness that Nathaniel or Nathan, whatever, and Belinda have against them? I said, that is nothing but pure jealousy because don't nobody really want them. So then Angela walks up and Belinda introduces her to Nate. And Angela's like, aren't you Zach's friend? And he says, yeah, that's my boy. So Belinda sends Nate to get them a table in the restaurant. And Angela asks, what's going on? And Belinda says, Nate is just something to do when there ain't nothing to do, girl. And that boy is blessed. And Angela's like, oh, all right, but just be careful. So then Belinda asks, about Zach and Fatima. And Angela said, yeah, they broke up. And she said, it's too bad. And Angela said, do you really mean that? And she said, yes, come on, Fatima's my girl. So tell her if she needs to talk, I'm there for her. So she says, I'll tell her, and they parted ways. So now we see Zach. He shows up to his own neighborhood to see his moms and runs into Connie first, who shows him where his mother is, but not before letting Zach know that her coochie cat misses him. And meow. And she's wet and crying over him. I said, damn, girl, you're so nasty. But it was funny too. So Zach laughed and he said, maybe in another life. So Zach goes over to where his mother and brother are, looking high as kites, both of them. And he's told that he has to give them money to talk. So Zach is like, I'm your son. You want me to pay you to talk? And Jeremiah's like, you ain't paying us to talk. You're helping us out. So Zach pulls some money out of his wallet, and gives it to him and says, are you going to be honest? And Jeremiah asks if he's wearing a wire. And Zach is like, what the F would I be wearing a wire? He's like, I don't know. So his mother's like, fine, I'll talk to you. But she wouldn't talk to him first. She said, listen to your brother. I said, what the hell is going on? So anyway, she said, fine, I'll talk to you, but you got to take me to get another cigarette on the way. So Zach says, okay. And they start to walk and he said, nah, Jeremiah, you stay here. And then he said, you know what, matter of fact, you need to come too. Come also. But he said, F you, Zach. And he said, I don't want to go with you anyway. And Zach was like, fine. So now it ends with Fatima showing up to Dr. Reed's office, and he comes out and tells her that he doesn't want her to be surprised. And Fatima's looking perplexed, like, he said, but you're definitely going to be. And she's like, okay, but why would I be surprised? And he said, I'll show you. And he walks her into this other room. I guess that's another office. And who is sitting on his couch but Zach, his mama, and Jeremiah. And they are all surprised basically to see her as well, because you can see by Jeremiah and the mother's face is like, what? And Zach is like a calm surprise, but the other two is like, this bitch, that's how they look. And like, why is she here? Anyway, that's how it ended. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about the episode. Put all your thoughts down in the comments section, and I will see you guys in the next video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. It's your girl Barbie J saying peace.